Did you know that some Black Americans also owned slaves? It's an overlooked and unsettling aspect of our history. Let's journey back in time to the 17th century, to the life of a man named Anthony Johnson. Originally from Angola, Johnson came to the United States as an indentured servant, a common practice in the colonies at the time. However, he managed to navigate his way through the complex social and legal norms of the time and eventually gained his freedom. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Anthony Johnson, now a free man, became a property owner, and astonishingly, one of the first known Black slave owners in the country. He legally owned at least one Black man, John Casor, as his slave. This surprising fact is a stark reminder of the intricate and often paradoxical nuances of history. So, what led some Black people to become slave owners? The reasons were multifaceted and often deeply personal. For some, it was an economic decision. In a society where wealth was often tied to the number of slaves one owned, becoming a slave owner was a means to climb the social and economic ladder. For others, the decision was rooted in a desperate attempt to protect their loved ones. By legally owning their family members, they could shield them from the harsher realities of slavery under a stranger's rule. This was a heartbreaking choice that underscored the tragic circumstances of the time. While it's a difficult topic to discuss, understanding this aspect of history is crucial to fully grasp the complexities of the American past. As we move further into the 18th and 19th centuries, the number of Black slave owners continued to grow, albeit remaining a small percentage of the total slave-owning population. Indeed, it's a fact that often surprises those delving into this complex period of history. Let's consider the story of William Ellison. Born into slavery himself, Ellison managed to purchase his freedom and subsequently became one of the wealthiest Black slave owners in the South. His path to wealth was paved, ironically, by the very institution he had escaped. Stories like Ellison's are not easily categorized in the black and white tapestry of history. They serve as stark reminders of the intricate and often paradoxical nature of human existence, where survival can sometimes necessitate becoming part of the very system one might abhor. Now, it's crucial to understand that these Black slave owners were not the norm. Their existence, however, adds another layer of complexity to the narrative. It compels us to examine the societal and economic pressures of the time. In a society structured around the brutal institution of slavery, the acquisition of slaves was often seen as a means of economic advancement. For some, it was a desperate attempt to protect family members, buying their own kin to shield them from the harsher realities of the slave trade. As we delve deeper into this period, we are confronted with an unsettling truth. The institution of slavery was so pervasive, so deeply ingrained in the societal fabric of the time, that it transcended racial boundaries. The existence of Black slave owners, though not the norm, was a stark reminder of the pervasiveness and complexity of the institution of slavery. The end of the Civil War and the abolition of slavery brought about significant changes, but the legacy of Black slave owners remains a contentious issue. In the wake of the war, many of these individuals found themselves in a new world. Stripped of the economic power that ownership had once granted them, they were now faced with the daunting task of navigating a society that was grappling with its own transformation. The aftermath of slavery was a time of tumultuous change and profound reflection. This was particularly true for Black slave owners, who were forced to reconcile their past actions with the new societal norms. The experience of these individuals underscores the fact that the history of slavery in America is not a monolithic narrative, but a complex tapestry of interwoven stories. The existence of Black slave owners challenges our understanding of race and power in the context of slavery. It forces us to grapple with the uncomfortable reality that oppression is not always clear-cut, that it can manifest in ways that blur the lines between the oppressor and the oppressed. Understanding the history of Black slave owners also compels us to reevaluate our perspectives on reparations. This is a contentious issue that elicits a range of responses, from outright rejection to fervent support. But the fact remains that the legacy of slavery is still felt today, and addressing this legacy requires an honest examination of our past. In reflecting on the history of Black slave owners, we are reminded of the complexities of the human experience. We are prompted to question the narratives that have been handed down to us and to seek a deeper, more nuanced understanding of our history. The story of Black slave owners complicates our view of history, reminding us that the past is often more complex than we might imagine.